Hi, Taraji, how's it going?
Good.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Please sit down. We have a whole couch for you here. It's like, lie down leisurely.
Like
yes,
this.
exactly. You're watching EW Lightbulb, presented by Glade. I feel like, people talk a lot about, one-dimensional characters, two-dimensional characters, three-dimensional characters. Cookie seems to me like a character with every possible dimension. I sort of feel like there's a lot of different sides to her.
The basics were there, like the bones were there. I just added everything else. I just remember when I first got the script, I was petrified because I thought people would hate her. Cookie is definite challenge. Every week she challenges me, she pushes me, she uses all of my emotions. I'm a heavy drinker now, thanks to Cookie. No, but there's always a reason why a person is the way they are. And if you play that, then people tend to have compassion or they empathize. And so that was very important for me to play the why Cookie is the way she is. How did she become this big personality, this woman who is uncompromising? And I think they're building a great arc and a story to show you that, and the backstory, if you will, that I created for her.
In thinking about all the different kinds of characters that you've played, whether they're doing good things or bad things or moral things, it always seems like you really have such an affection for them, and that you really manage to find something, you specifically really find something very human about them. Is that very important to you? Is that part of the process for you, like sort of discovering what is it that makes this person tick?
Well, with Cookie, I don't condone selling drugs, and I grew up in the hood. I never I wasn't interested. I figured that I could get out another way, so that's conflicting. She wears fur. I'm not a fur person, but I can't judge the characters that I play. I can't judge them, because if I judge them, then I'm not serving the character.
Now, talk a little about when you first kind of got into acting. What was it that kind of drew you into the trade initially?
I'm trained in theater, so the stage is different. Everything is big, everything is loud. You have to make sure the person in the 800th row can hear you and see you. So it was weird when I first got to LA, because they kept saying I was very big. They were like, okay, we love all the choices you're making, but just can you bring it down a little bit? So it wasn't until I did Baby Boy with John Singleton, and he told me that the magic was in my eyes. He said, you have expressive eyes and a very expressive face, and you really don't have to do anything, Taraji, but think it. The camera will do all of the work.
Let's say when you get a character like, say, Queenie from The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, what is your kind of process actually in the lead up to starring in the movies?
Well, a lot of times in feature film and television, you don't get a lot of practice time, so there's that. So when you get the job, it's up to you to do your work. So when it comes to day one of principal photography, you hit your mark and the character's there. I read the script even throughout principal photography, and I get new information. What are other people saying about my character? What does she really mean right here? So it's not just hit your mark and get cute and say the line and be a personality. When you're representing or you're bringing a character to life, you have to live the character's truth. And sometimes their truth will be conflicting with yours, but you have to be professional enough to know to put your stuff aside, and you have nothing to do with this character.
It's interesting, hearing the way you're describing with Queenie, you were so focused not just on her, but on her kind of role in the whole film.
Yeah.
I know that you're kind of getting into more producing work now. I know that you produce No Good Deed. What excites you about kind of being behind the scenes now and not just being the person up in front of the camera?
I guess producing, I have more say. I have more say in casting. Because in my opinion, if you have the right cast, the work is halfway done. It's there, Not to say that you don't have to do any work, but it just helps the process when the people click, when there's chemistry. And the only way you get an audience to care about you is if you, the actor, care about the character.
You talked kind of generally about the kind of roles that you'd like to play, but are there any kind of real goals that you have going forward for the types of roles you'd like to play, or whether it's TV or movies or stage?
Definitely being nominated or winning any award doesn't necessarily make a big change in your career. You don't just overnight, all of a sudden, studios are giving you movies and green light. You have to prove that you are bankable, And so how you do that is you accumulate an audience. Whether you're nominated or win or whatever, I'm not going to stop doing independent films. I'm not going to stop being a supporting cast. If I'm attracted to the character, I'm going to want to do it. I don't care if it's number 54 on the call sheet. Viola Davis proved that you can do one scene and still make it to the big show. You just got to be good.
fair to say that for you, it's so much more kind of about the work and more
Yeah.
about being challenged.
Yes.
And that's kind of still what excites you after all the work that you've done up to this point.
I'm always trying to play as many characters as I can. I want to play a man. I want to play a person of another race. Like, I'm an actress. I love the craft of creating and acting. I love it. And so I love to be challenged.
Watch all of EW Lightbulb, presented by Glade.